Believe Achieve is everything that my entire career is based on putting my mind into a state of belief. I spend during the week, I'm a public speaker and I visit businesses up and down the country and soon to be, across the world, talking about if you put your mind into a state of belief, anything is possible. Don't take no for an answer. Anything is possible. If you believe it, you will achieve it. And make tea.
Stephanie Hirst there, inspiring as always, and more from Stephanie later on in the video. But today on Dom's Diary, it's radio, and radio all the way, because we've recently had Local Radio Day, and here's how I introduced it this year. Hello, Dom here, and yeah, it's that time of year, Local Radio Day, just around the corner. This year we are celebrating the sound, and we want as many local radio stations and people to be involved with this as possible, because I think it's time that the industry celebrates local radio, and let's shout about local radio and its awesome place in community life, localities all around the UK, and let's shout about it to some of the decision makers, the government and other people who may have some bearing on the fortunes as local radio continues to embed its way so fantastically into audiences here in the UK. So what do we want you to do? Well, this year we're asking you to send in your 5 minutes of audio telling us how you're celebrating the sound, how you're celebrating your place in your communities with your audiences, how you're serving those audiences with locally trusted voices. I'm filming this at Summer Valley FM. They got plenty to be celebrating, because on the very day of Local Radio Day this year, they are 14 years old as the local broadcaster here in North East Somerset. Tell us your stories. Let's hear them. Let's get that audio in, and then we will have a pop-up stream service that will be accessible for a month. So if you don't get it to us by Friday the 21st, don't worry too much, although we want it for that date, but it's going to be up for a month. Let's get as many radio stations on there as possible, and also tell us what else you're doing to celebrate the sound. Are you going to get out into your communities with outside broadcasts? Are you going to have special guests in for the day? Here at Summer Valley FM, they'll be celebrating the relationship with local education. Over here is a school campus. One of the key partners is the local further education college, Bath College. They're taking over for the day. So it's all about empowering young people with the voices and the skills to have a voice on local radio. That's just an example. There'll be hundreds of different things. Let us know what you're up to. localradioday.co.uk. Head over there and we'll see you on Friday the 21st of October. Well, Friday the 21st of October has now been and gone, so we've had Local Radio Day 2022. But if you're listening to this before the start of December, that stream we created is up and running, and you can still contribute to it if you want to get the story of your station, how you've been celebrating the sound, out there for all to see and hear. It's Sound Radio UK, and you can find the link to that, as I said in the piece there, on the Local Radio Day website. Well, this year, Local Radio Day was managed by Sound Vision, the charity I started in 2017. Here's one of our trustees, Maxine.
I just wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to everybody who supported Local Radio Day last week, and to everyone who supports local radio all year round. Whether you're listeners, volunteers or professionals, the service that you provide to your communities is invaluable. You're the DJs who get us up and dancing around the kitchen. You're the trusted advisors who help us avoid traffic jams. You keep us in the know about local music, news, events. You're a familiar voice to the lonely and the isolated. You deliver training and help with employability and mental health and well-being. And you're a platform to empower local voices. So on behalf of everyone at Sound Vision, the proud organisers of Local Radio Day, we want to say thank you for supporting us this year, and we look forward to spending Local Radio Day 2023 with you.
Maxine Stride from Sound Vision with her reflections of how Local Radio Day went. And very much underlining, I think, the social value of local radio to the UK. And we're on a bit of a mission at Sound Vision to kind of get that documented, or in funding land we would call it evidence of need. And I think we need to really shout about the value to society of local radio here in the UK, to the big decision makers, to government and other such bodies. And that story starts with Local Radio Day 2022. It's a small beginning with this stream idea, working with John Dash and his group, but we're going to grow this in years to come. Well, if this year we've been thinking about how local radio can inspire people, then let's stick with that theme. And it's over to a voice, a personality, someone who's very familiar on both local radio airways and national airways. And I was lucky enough to go to Manchester and catch up with Stephanie Hirst as she was preparing for her Sunday show on Hits Radio. Here's the story. Hits Radio. These are the Hits Radio studios. And I'm going to go and meet somebody who's about to go on air on a Sunday evening. Bit of a clue going on through there. Should we go and find out who this well-known voice in radio is? Coming through Studio 1. And here we are. It's Stephanie Hirst.
Hello, welcome to Hits Radio. Hi there. This is Studio 2. Or is it Studio 1? No, it's 1. Studio 1. I always get confused. Because as soon as you walk in, it's Studio 2. And then this one is Studio 1. So there you go.
What kind of show are you about to do?
This is the throwback on a Sunday evening. So I do 2 shows on a weekend. Saturday nights is Belters, which essentially was born out of me DJing in my kitchen. So long before lockdown, I used to DJ in my kitchen and do a thing called Kitchen Belters, which was just 90s, noughties and 10s dance tunes, I guess, really. And I used to get like 100,000 views a week. So I was then asked to do an hour version, a 60-minute version, on our sister station, which was a pop-up at the time, Hits Radio Pride. And I did, and still do, on a Saturday evening between 7 and 8. And the success of that led to the powers that be bringing it to Hits Radio, the full network, on a Saturday night between 9 and midnight. So 3 hours of that. And then on Sunday evenings, I do the throwback, which is basically made up of tunes from, 2012, 2015, 2018, 1997. Literally, we are all over the shop. So tonight, On Vogue, You're Loving, But David Guetta, Without You, Sugar Babes, Round Round, John Newman, Love Me Again, Pink, Alice DJ, Jamelia, Superstar, I love that song. But then Eminem, My Name Is, Mike Posner, Took a Plane to Ibiza, 50 Cent, ATB, Tyler Cruz. So it's pretty much, you know, on a Sunday evening, it's celebrating those great throwbacks that we played during the week here at Hits Radio.
Well, Steph, you've been in the radio industry presenting for, I won't say how long, but a fair while. Why do you still love being on the radio?
Oh God, that's a really good question. This thing here is like my best friend. So I feel like I can say anything into the microphone. And I built a little studio when I was a kid in my bedroom, because my dad used to fix TVs for a living. And he was in a band at a weekend as well. So when he wasn't working, I would get his tape recorder and his microphone. I'd have 2 turntables, and I'd be in my studio at home, and I'd just be making my own shows. And then I got into a radio station, which is now Greatest Hits Radio and Pulse 1. But the studios used to be Radio Air in Leeds. And I got in there when I was age 12, making tea for DJs, so I can make a cracking cup of tea. And but there was something about the microphone and being on the air. I wanted it so badly. So by the age of 16, I'd convinced the powers that be to put me on, which they did. And I never kind of looked back, but I just genuinely adore being on the air. And it's also connecting with the audience as well. So I'll get people texting in and tweeting in and generally getting in touch. And it's a two-way street. It's always an open door for me, open door policy.
Is that part of the buzz, that kind of connection with the audience?
Yeah, I think if I'm just sitting here playing records on my own, I find that, and that's how you've got to remember, that's how it used to be back in the day. You know, you didn't have that instant connectivity with the audience. So when I first started in the 1990s, you know, people had to physically write in, or they'd turn up to meet you at the station door. But you would, I guess back then, you'd get more phone calls to the studio. So, you know, you would give out the station phone number, and, you know, especially I used to do the evening show on a station called The Pulse, which this show is actually on tonight, along with the Hits Radio Network. And I'd give the phone number out, and the phone lines would literally, the display would light up like a Christmas tree. So you would get instant reaction that way, but now people can just instantly tweet you, or Facebook Messenger, or, you know, text. So I like that in the fact that it's instant. And I get lots of calls on a Sunday night because, you know, people are getting ready for the week ahead. You know, it's half-term finishes today, kids are back at school. So tonight there's going to be lots of people getting in touch, lots of mums, I'm guessing, maybe listening, having the radio on, whilst ironing school uniforms and getting ready for getting their kids to school tomorrow, or kids might be doing the last bit of homework that they've had to do. So I try and get those on the air, or people may have been away for the weekend. So it's that interactivity that I like doing this show, and any radio show really.
And what would you say to somebody who, like you, that child who was desperate to get into the radio station, desperate to get onto that big fluffy green microphone?
This thing here, the muff.
What would you say to the kids of today who want a career in audio and radio?
Believe, achieve is everything that my entire career is based on putting my mind into a state of belief. I spend, during the week, I'm a public speaker, and I visit businesses up and down the country, and soon to be, you know, across the world, talking about, if you put your mind into a state of belief, anything is possible. You will achieve it. I always used to say to myself, and my mum used to tell me to shut up, but I used to say, believe, achieve. So I'd tap on my forehead on believe and point on achieve. Believe, achieve, believe, achieve. Because all I wanted to do was be on the radio. So for anyone who wants to get into this industry, if you believe it, you will achieve it. Because by believing, you put your mind, as I was saying, into a state of belief, and you actually get up off your backside and you do it. And you bang on that door. And you don't take no for an answer. You're constantly reaching out for feedback, making your own demos, meeting people, which is really important. And for instance, if you were to get work experience at a radio station, you know, whether it's a station like Hits, or, you know, it could be at the BBC or whatever, you know, when you get in, make tea for people. And this sounds ridiculous, but I always give this advice. If you make tea for people, that opens up a corridor of conversation. So, you know, they may say to you, oh, could you just do this, or give me a hand with this? And that gets you experience instead of, I remember when I was working at the BBC, someone came and did work experience, and for a whole week literally sat on their phone and played a game. And I thought, what a wasted opportunity. But just, you know, don't take no for an answer. Anything is possible. If you believe it, you will achieve it. And make tea.
And what do you think about the future of audio and radio here in the UK?
Gosh, you know, radio is in, we've just had a recent Radar, the audience figures. Hits Radio has had another stormer, which is incredible. Radio has got a really bright future ahead of it. I think we're in a golden period for radio. The amount of radio stations that are doing incredible content is just, and so much of it is at our fingertips. We can listen to it instantly, and we can listen. I think there's a bright future. And there's, you know, they say that kids don't listen. Kids do listen, you know. There's a bright future for radio. There really is. And it's not just a jukebox. It's about that communication. I think longer that, I think if radio stations are just a jukebox where the presenters or talent or whatever say something very short, those days are gone, because we can't compete with Spotify and music streaming services. You know, they can have all the music, they can have, you know, some of the music is on streaming platforms before it even arrives at the radio station sometimes. But what we have is talent. So what we have is presenters that can engage with the listener, and that's the powerful thing. That's what we've got above and beyond any streaming service, is that human interactivity. And I think we've learned during COVID and lockdowns that we need that connectivity. We need to talk. And I think that's what, a good balance of talk, not too much chat, because you don't, you're talking too much rubbish on the radio, but good engaging chat with some great tunes. You can't go wrong. Radio's got a real strong future.
In any event, there is a bright future for your listeners this evening. What are you going to kick off with?
Tonight we start with, I've not even looked. Do you know what? I don't know actually. And I'll tell you for why I don't know. Because it's a mix. We have 2 blocks of mixers, and it starts with Jennifer Lopez and Jenny from the Block. So what I would be doing, instead of chatting to you here, would be checking that out. So I'm going to do that now.
Get on with it.
No, it's fine. So I need to check out, because I need to talk in the middle of this block. And I have like a 10 or 15 second piece between each mix block, and then I drop myself in the middle of it.
Well, Steph from the Block, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for welcoming
Bless you, Dom.
Diary into your studio.
You're
welcome.
welcome.
Have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
From Sky News, I'm Kevin Gover.
Let's do this throwback thing then.
Come on!
The Hits Radio.
Throwback, throwback. This is
Hits Radio.
J-Lo. Got Drake on the way as well, and Blue and Clean Bandit, all on the throwback Sunday night.
LOX, yeah. J-Lo, yeah.
Stephanie Hirst there. How inspiring is she? Just love being with her. Always a great conversation. And thanks so much to Steph for welcoming me into her studio as she was preparing for her show, even disturbing her a little bit there. Well, that's it for Dom's Diary this week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all the usual things that I got quite musical then, didn't I? All the usual things that we require of YouTube following, and I'll see you back here for another Dom's Diary in this little crazy world that we do very soon. Take care.